Seeing beyond, living transformed is a spiritual crossing of the threshold to the world of being a truly expanded human being. Join mediums Cheryl and Kelly for conversations about discovering deep spirituality, developing your intuitive and empathic skills, and personal mediumship. Each episode will focus on tips, tools, and techniques to help you understand and expand your own inner gifts of life journey. Now, your host of Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed, Kelly and Cheryl.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to today's program of Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed. We're happy that you're here. We love our topic for today. We've been talking about it before the show, so we're excited for everyone who's listening or listening to the recording. We're really hoping to talk about spooky ghosts and haunted houses and all the above because it's Halloween week.
Yes, I love it. Love it. My favorite.
Yes, we want to welcome everyone to the show. And of course, I want to say hi to my good friend and colleague, Kelly Eckhart. Hi, Kelly. How are you this afternoon?
Hi, Cheryl. I'm great. I'm so excited to get our conversation started.
We were talking beforehand about, our haunted house experiences and spooky ghosts. And, Halloween always brings that out in us, right? And I think it's fun. It's a fun topic to talk about. It is. People like being scared but really this is about, maybe making some sense out of things that people have questions about, right?
Right. And I'd also love to talk about like your, in my opinion on hauntings and ghosts.
Sure.
It's a touchy subject, I want to say, in our industry, because there's two beliefs, or there's more than two beliefs, but, even in the mediumship world. And so I'm just curious, I know for me, I like to think, and I'm open, but I've never really experienced, anything negative. And I don't think that there's ghosts, because ghost implies that they're stuck, right? There's spirits. Mm-hmm. But I think what most people think might be a haunting, this is my opinion again, everybody, is possibly like the energy signature left behind from an event in that location, and they're sensitive and they're picking it up. And with picking it up, that maybe they're tuning into it, and then spirit comes to tell them the story, and they're interpreting that as a ghost, perhaps. I don't know. I've had experiences that could be like, oh, that's a haunting or that's that, but I know it wasn't. I knew what it was in my book. But what about you, Cheryl?
Well, I think, people, when they think of ghosts, maybe they get scared, but, then there's friendly ghosts, right? Just
Casper.
There's Casper, the friendly ghost.
Right.
But what I like to think about when I think of a ghost, or I do think it's an energy, it's a residual energy, right?
Yes.
I also know we're going to be talking about the person also contributes, each individual, we contribute the energy in the home that we live in.
Yes.
So that can also magnify or amplify anything positive or negative, right?
Right. We're the amplifying, energy, right?
Yeah.
It feeds off of our fear and our what's going on in our mind. And that's why I said I know my experiences, with popped light bulbs and doors slamming and things like that. Honestly, I don't think it was, well, I do think spirit can do that. But I think as a child, it was more my energy and my fear.
I know when I did a house clearing years ago, there was a lot of spirits there or energy there. It wasn't ever scary, though. That's what I wanted to share. It was information. It was, we felt asking for help. We felt a healing happening. We felt a blessing happening, even though you can feel the breeze come across the room, or you can feel the spiritual energy walking around or moving around. But is it a ghost, or is it something to be scared about? No, usually I think if or when there is a spirit, they're just trying to get your attention, to ask for help. So banging pots or this is just a way of them getting noticed.
A lot of times it's your own family and spirit trying to get your attention because we're like ignoring them and they know you're going to feel it. Well,
it's so true.
Can I share a story about the crystal store?
Okay.
Oh my God, my husband's dreaming in the background here. Shh, dear, stop. Oh my God. He's sleeping behind me and he's talking. I'm sorry, everybody. So when I had opened the crystal store, I had another medium friend of mine come over and we did like she did a little, saging of it and clearing it out. And I was standing in the middle with her and I almost got knocked over by the energy. It was so strong. And it was like all this energy leaving, she was saying those are spirits, but to me, it was just negative energy that was like caught up. It was an old building. It was in Huntington Beach. And if you think about like going back hundreds of years, there's been a lot of things there in this location, right? Yeah. And then immediately I was overwhelmed with this like rose petal kind of smelling spirit. And I felt warm and fuzzy all over. And it was this beautiful like old lady who showed up and her husband. And they had actually had a home in that property years ago. And it was like, all I felt was like gratitude for somebody loving the space.
Yeah, it's so true because when you live in a house for a very long time, you're going to move away and leave some of your energy there, right? And we can feel it going in these old buildings, as you mentioned. I mean, old buildings that have been many different things. Like in Georgia, I went to a building that was a hospital and it was a horse stable. And it was all in one. It was, the post office. It was the clinic. It was, the used for government building too. I mean, it's a multi-purpose building because that's how we built buildings back then. Is we didn't have a whole lot in some areas of our country, and we would multi-purpose these, and so the energy stays and it's residual, and then layer on layer on layer, and then it may come across as scary. It may come across as something weird, but usually if someone who lives there and is very aware or very sensitive, they will pick up on it because not everyone picks up on this energy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And, think about it. We can also manifest things in our own mind. So you imagine what our fear can do. And that's what I say when I was a kid. I was fearful and I would get all stressed out and I would pop my light bulbs. And somebody could say that was an evil spirit, but me, I know it was my energy because I've done it before over the years. If you get so like over, and in the crystal store, we had a little area with the plant wall and it had this beautiful chandelier and everybody did the meditations in there and all that. And every time they were doing that, the energy was so strong, all the light bulbs would pop.
Oh my, I remember that. I remember that chandelier, that beautiful crystal store you owned. Yeah.
I loved that. Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of people telling stories here too. And I love that. I would like to tell one more real quick.
Please tell us.
My ex-husband passed away last year and we went to go clean the house. That house has been in his family for 70 years. Very old home in Sacramento. And I could feel his energy all over it. It was not good energy because it was a bad passing, right? So that's it needed a lot of cleaning. It needed a lot of love. And he had guns. I don't like guns. And I put them all in this closet in the back room. And my young son's telling me, don't worry, Mom, I'll check them. I know how to find out if the safety's on it. And I'm like, no, you've never touched a gun. He's like, I play this on this game. And I'm like, dude, you're not touching the guns. Stay away from the guns, right? But he's a boy. So we're all working in the front room and he's in the back room and I hear a door slam. Spirit slammed the door to the guns where he was standing because he was going to go try to put the safety on his own. And that's what spirit. So that was a good slam. That was spirit helping me out. I say it was kind of like it scared him.
So it scared him, but it protected him at the same time.
It did. Yes. And I love that. I mean, it was kind of interesting.
I think that's a great way to look at it is, it is our loved ones coming through to help us and maybe, sometimes it's a door slam or, sometimes it's the phone ringing, but it is about understanding energy, right? We're learning about energy, and Halloween is a really important day. You know, it's Hallows Eve coming up.
Yes.
We have the Day of the Dead coming up in Mexico, where they actually do celebrate, right, Kelly? They do
Yeah.
celebrate their loved ones, and
Yeah, and I love that. It's my favorite.
in different cultures celebrate their loved ones, right? And so it's really meant to be, at least we would like you to understand a little bit more about, you know, ghosts or haunted houses. So if you have any questions, please, you can type them in our comment section here, or you can send us them in an email, questions@seeingbeyondradio.com. So we'd love to answer your questions about ghosts. We'd love for you to share our your story about your haunted house experience or anything that scares you or you may have questions about. Because it's not really, you know, what we're hoping to leave you with today is really to feel empowered, maybe a little bit more maybe a little bit more knowledgeable on what you're experiencing when you do have these encounters or these doors slamming, so to speak. So I just blocked a user there. Thank you very much for that. So is it true the veil is thinner around this Hallows Eve season? Kelly, Maria's asking that.
That's a great question. I mean, I don't know. I do think that there are times throughout the month where I feel the spirit so much stronger than I do any other times. For me, it's the full moon. So I'm not sure if it's like that it's this time of the year or it just depends on each person. When it's around the full moon, I'm like so overwhelmed with spirit energy. It's amazing. And it's my favorite time to do events. So, you know, but any other time of the month for me is like there'll be days where it's stronger. It just depends, I think, for each person. But people say it is stronger this time of year. I don't know. I haven't personally noticed. Have you?
For me personally, I agree. It is around the full moon. It is around some holidays. I would say it is probably a little thinner around Hallow Eve or Hallows Eve, but it's also thinner during other times. Like I feel it very open around the Easter holiday. So, you know, I mean, these are my holidays, you know, or for the United States or for my religion, so to speak, the Christianity, the spirituality is like Easter. So I do feel it around that time. Also Christmas time, it's a beautiful time. Valentine's Day when everyone's hearts open, that's a beautiful time to experience that beautiful frequency of divine love and acceptance. But
New
yes,
Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Because that's kind of a collective energy.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily because it's this Halloween or it's just that. So yes, collectively, the energy is probably higher, right? When you think about that, because I love New Year's Eve ever since I was a kid. I've never been able to sleep. I've always just been like so overwhelmed with energy every New Year's Eve. And you know, that it's exciting. And I think, you know, as sensitives, we pick up the energy that's like around the world, right?
And
And
as go ahead.
go ahead.
I was going to say, as you mentioned, Kelly, the collective, you know, it's the collective also. I mean, everyone on the planet or everyone that wants to talk about Halloween or celebrate Halloween, they are also, it's that, you know, it's that mass communication, it's the mass consciousness that's also helping to contribute to thinning that veil, so to speak, if that helps answer your question, Maria.
Yeah, that's a great question. How did you block? Can you block from here?
I was able to block from here.
Oh, I see that. I forgot about that. That's great.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're quick, Cheryl. Whoops.
You know, I'm having a
just knocked the phone over.
And I noticed the email. Is that correct? It's seeingbeyond.com. I thought it was Seeing Beyond
Oh
Radio.
my God, you're right, Cheryl. Thank you. I was trying to do this while you were talking.
If you were updating it.
Let me.
I also want to share a story about how I went to, it was an old time. Once again, it was a multi-purpose building. So for me, my experiences have been like, I went into the saloon, you know, it used to be a grain feed or, another purposed store. But once again, it's a very old store, hundreds of years old. And you can definitely feel the energy in certain rooms where, they used to hold the grain, or the animals were in one room, right? The horses, for example, they stayed in one area, or, the food was kept. So you can actually walk around and feel heaviness, lightness, or something that felt good. So it's really an examination. It's an education on about your energy, what you're picking up, your sensitivity level. If you want to sit around the Halloween time frame and connect with your guides, angels, loved ones, and see if you're even more open and you're receiving the information easier, you might try that as well.
I'm back. I hit the wrong thing.
Can you read what Sherry wrote? Sherry wrote, I had a candle thing with 3 angels on it. If the candle is lit, it's supposed to make the angels spin. Well, I didn't have the candle lit, and we had just come home from Florida. This thing was spinning one way and then started spinning the other way. I am hoping it was my daughter saying hi and welcome home.
Of course it was.
That's beautiful.
I always tell people, the first spirit that comes to your mind when you do get a sign like that is it's that person.
Yeah.
It's typically that person because they're on your mind. Oh my goodness, we have another spammer here.
Okay. Can you tell me who it is, or can you do it, please?
It's Girls XYZ again.
Oh, no, it says they were blocked, so.
Okay, it's not letting me block them, so maybe that's it.
That's because maybe they were blocked.
Okay, it just popped up. So we have an email. Can I read it?
I'd love for you to read that. Thanks.
Dear Cheryl and Kelly, is it possible that some low-level spirit can attach themselves to you if you're depressed or angry and drain your energy level and contribute to chronic illness? I had a psychic reading years ago, and the reader said I had a spirit unknown to me attach themselves to me and was getting ready to move on because I wasn't so interesting anymore. I did visit an old haunted lunatic asylum in West Virginia years ago. Makes me wonder if I picked some insane criminal up there. I did encourage all spirits to go to the white light to help. Thank you, Kit Bennett. Well, I'm going to let you go with that one first, Cheryl.
I think it's a great question, and thanks
so much for
asking it, because I know that when we travel around the world in different countries and different cultures, and we learn new information, we're absorbing what's around us, we're on vacation, or we're whatever reason we're traveling on business, but it is somewhat that you might bring some of that energy home, right? I don't think it would be an attachment, though. I just want to say,
spirit.
I don't feel that attachments should be I don't really believe in that.
Me either. Yeah.
That you may bring home some of the information you learned or some of the vibration. I don't think it's attached to you, like, you have to go, oh, get it off of me. I do feel that I loved it that you surrounded yourself with white light.
Yes.
You could have felt residual energy once again. Right, Kelly?
Yes. And here's the other thing, I don't believe there are low-level spirits. Personally, I've never experienced that, so I can't believe something I haven't experienced. It doesn't mean it's not possible, but in my experience, I've only met love from the other side, and I strongly believe that if you think about it, this is my belief, when a baby is born, it's perfect, it's innocent, it's beautiful, it's whole, and then society, like whatever their circumstances are. Maybe there was something wrong with the brain. Maybe they had a head injury, whatever it is. Maybe they were in a broken home. Things create, and then it's the human behavior that can be evil, right? But it's not the spiritual behavior. So when we leave this human body and all of that behind, I believe that we're back to that perfectly innocent spirit soul again. And whatever we didn't learn here and whatever pain we caused here, if we were bad, we're going to have to go through our life review to understand and evolve and grow, and like we're still going to continue to do the work, but on the other side, because we didn't do it here. And then we could choose, once we've gotten through that, to either come back and try to continue to learn and grow and choose, differently in another life, or they could choose to stay and be, a guide. That's my belief and my experience. But there are people that do believe that there are low-level spirits and that they get stuck here and that they need to be saved. But to me, it's like the only one that needs to be saved are us humans. Spirits are already saved. You're always immediately, as soon as you're passing, you're greeted by so much love from the other side to help you transition. That's my belief. I mean, I don't know. I also think, like, if you want to believe in low-level spirits and you want to believe in evil things and you want to have that fear in yourself, you are going to create illness in your body with that fear. I would rather keep my thoughts positive and light and know that only light is going to come to me. I don't want to open myself up to negative energy, whether you think it's spirit or it's residual energy or it's negative people that you're attracting around you. It all adds up. That's my belief.
One of my best friends, just to tell you, one of my very good friends I've known forever, loves to get scared. We cannot go to the scariest movie out there, and the movie theater isn't scary enough. It's like, and I'm not a big scary person, but she is. And so, I mean, it's not, she's a skydiver, goes on the highest rides at the amusement parks, goes the fastest. You cannot scare her, but she does it for fun and for enjoyment, right? She loves
to get
that.
Scared.
She does it for the fun of it, I think that's one thing, but really don't step into that negative belief system and don't believe that you can't enjoy those things like the movies or the amusement park rides and get scared in the haunted houses for Halloween. But it's also to learn that, everything kind of has its place and that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and, you're filled with love and light. So it really is a belief system also. I do believe, you'll attract what you believe, or
right.
Right.
So if there are evil spirits out there, perhaps I don't have any experience in it because I am not evil and I'm not lowering my energy down low to connect. But I still believe, that's another way to look at it, right? I'm not going to even entertain those thoughts because why would I want to go there? And I've never really experienced anybody that was stuck, anybody that couldn't get through. Didn't matter how they passed, what they were in life, or how they how they conducted themselves in lives. And I have connected with murderers before, and I've connected with, I did a group reading, and this woman was in the reading, and her brother had murdered his wife and his whole family and then himself. And of course, it had been 20 years. And she just didn't ever think that he would ever come through. She was hoping to hear from her mother. And he was one of the first people that came through. And everybody in the reading just gasped because they just thought he was in hell. And, and he came through with the most beautiful message and apology and wanting them to understand that, he was evolving and growing. And he came through with his wife and his children. It was kind of amazing. So I do know from my own experience, also being in the spirit world, of what it's like, because I do remember being in the spirit world for 13 years. I watched my mother give birth to all of my siblings, and I was very connected to my angels and my guides while over there, and to my family that was alive. So I do have those memories. So that's why I have a strong belief that it doesn't happen for me. But I don't say it's not true.
Let's read what Susan wrote.
Yeah. Oh, you got it. Thank you. You're good. You're quick.
Susan wrote, as a paranormal investigator and empath, there are so many stories. Along with my house, my favorite story from my house, my family and dogs were all sitting watching TV, and we all heard someone walking from one room down the hall to another room. We looked at our parents, and they calmly said it was one of the past owners just checking out the house. We weren't scared. We just accepted it as events that regularly happen when I was growing up here. I can agree that absolutely.
Yeah. And then here's the other thing. Here's another theory on that, walking up and down. that past owner probably walked up and down that hallway a billion times because they lived there a long time. So there's a strong energy signature that you're going to hear and see as sensitives that maybe isn't necessarily a ghost. It's just this, it's just replay. It's like a replay. It's like a repeat of that energy. And it's such a strong energy. It takes on a life, kind of. That's another belief. I mean, I think, you have to go with what resonates and what feels right to you. And, I choose not to live in the fear.
And know that it can change. Our belief, our opinions today, your beliefs, your opinions today, they are today. And, and this is how mediumship works too. I mean, our mediumship is always evolving and changing as well. So we have to be open to, new ideas. We have to be open to even questioning our own beliefs. Like, do I really believe this? Because you hear things being taught or lectured and you say, can I take that in as my own? Can I understand it? And if you can't, you just throw it out the window, as they say, or you make it your own, or you decide for yourself what resonates with you, right? What resonates with you?
So, here's another great question from Anna Wood. Wait, show. There we go. Does your family that passed, can they come down as ghost? Not bad ones, just ghost. So again, I feel like ghost is sort of overused and used in it's more like for TV and cartoons. That's my opinion. Spirits, ghosts, yes, there are spirits around us all the time. Everywhere we go, there are spirits. We're literally living in parallel universes side by side along each other. We're connected. I love the analogy of ice cubes and water. You throw a bunch of ice cubes in water. The ice cubes are us. The water is the spirit world, and it's surrounding the ice, right? And when the ice melts, it's back to the water, the spirit world. We're so connected. And so, yes, your loved ones are always around. They're there to support us. They're always watching over us. The minute you think about them, they're with you. I mean, if I say my son's name, RJ, he's right here with me. It's that quick. And he can be here with me, and he can be with his sister in another area, in another city at the same time. Because it's just such an amazing, the way that they connect. So I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry, Cheryl, did I overtalk you? It's your turn.
No, you didn't at all. And I was just going to add to it that, so to refer to our loved ones as ghosts, for example, the highest compliment I think we can call your son RJ, for example, is to call him your son RJ, like my father, for example, is still my father in spirit now. But so I don't know if I would refer to my father as a ghost, so to speak. I would refer to my father. I feel him around. I feel him near me, supporting me. I feel him, when I'm scared, or when I'm, I felt him very strongly when one of our dogs passed away. I knew he came to help take the dog, for example, or be part of that support team. So we do feel our loved ones around, definitely.
Here's a really good question, or that I have, or not a question.
Questions, yeah.
So if anybody's going to ever change my mind, I would say it's Cindy Kaza. Because she's a really well-educated, well-traveled person. She's studied so many different beliefs and all that. And I really respect that about her. And so she has some interesting beliefs. But, the other thing is that this is a little bit out there, but we are on this radio show, and there is an alien behind us. There is alien entities that we can connect to as well. And to me, I have a strong belief that sometimes what we call light beings, and we think they're angels, they're actually aliens guiding us and teaching us. And I don't know if there's evil aliens, because again, I feel I've only experienced the love. And so maybe that's because that's what I choose. I mean, why would I want to choose to connect with something evil? But, I just know that I don't have fear around it. And who's to say that we haven't had lives on other planets as another species, right? Or experiences. I mean, there's so many things that we could tap into here, and it could go way out there, Cheryl. But I mean, I love that, because I do think I am open to new beliefs. I'm always looking, but I always try to keep it positive And I always try to keep it, like only open to like the good things. And I feel like we should all be like that, because we have to have our own spiritual wall where we're only allowing in the love, right? With that boundary,
I do
right?
agree that, yes, I do agree there's extraterrestrials and aliens out there, and we are more than just, humans. I mean, I know we're spiritual beings, but we have probably presented ourselves in different forms
Yes.
to each other. I was probably polka dotted with, polka dotted with, so it's funny. But really, the more we can open up to the energy of love and to healing, the more we can open up to the possibilities. I do believe it does open up our mind and our abilities, as you said, to heal, to bring health and balance, clarity, wisdom, humor, all those compassion, all of those things that we want to bring forward, and we so need here on earth right now. We so need more compassion here on earth. So just want to plug compassion, give that
Yes.
a buzzword for the day here.
Here's one from Frank. I love all the questions. Thank you, guys. If you have a sibling that takes a life at 18, then takes his own life at 43, does he make it to heaven? And if so, when? Well, there's different religions, Frank. So if that's what he believed in, I do believe like we create our heaven, and that our hell is sometimes what we create here on earth. Because I believe that my mom lived in her own hell, right? Because she wasn't happy and she was miserable. But now my mom's in what would be heaven. So yes, they do. They have to really, go through their life review. They have to understand, they have to learn, they have to grow, but they're still going to be surrounded by love and guidance on the other side that's going to help them get there. So yes, they are in a good place. They are surrounded by that love them. So there's nobody stuck. They're not haunted. They're not tormented. They are in a beautiful place. That's my belief. I mean, I have read for people that have done bad things that come through, and they were not bad spirits. They were loving. Again, it goes back to my belief, like a baby is born perfectly innocent as soul, right? And when we die, we go back to that same concept. What about you, Cheryl?
I do believe that. I do believe that your sibling is in heaven, and the person, whose life they took, of course, is in heaven. That there is really no hell, but they are in heaven. And I do believe that they are learning, right? We're evolving, like you and I. When we cross over one day, we're going to still be learning and evolving and doing the things that we're curious about. We're all going to be having these discussions, these panels, so to speak. You'll just see Kelly and I will be on the intergalactic net, and their frequency will just be a little telepathic, but worries there. But this physicalness is very fun. In the meantime, this is why we're here. But I do believe that they go for healing. They do. I do believe everyone goes to heaven. So if we want to call it heaven, and for healing, for love, for understanding.
There's different religions have different beliefs. Mm-hmm. And my theory on why is there so many different religions, it's because it's what we need as humans to understand the other side, right? But I really believe there's so many similarities in all the different religions of what is heaven.
Just so many, everyone's different. So much diversification. Different people. It's almost as if we don't have more religions or something, right? Because we have so many different beliefs, so many different people and cultures, and still evolving all the time. I mean, it's the same culture. It's different, a year from now, 5 years from now, it's changing, new ideas.
And then here's a good one. Wood. Why do they say night before Halloween is called something like Devil's Night? Have you heard of that before? I think I've heard of it, but only in the movies. But I don't know. A lot of times things are sensationalized because they make great stories. People like to get fearful. A long time ago, we didn't have TV, so they told stories, right? They didn't have radio, but when they got radio, they told scary stories because everybody loves to get scared. I mean, I love going to a scary movie, and I'll jump out of my seat and land in somebody else's lap. I mean, I'm that person that screams. My neighbor takes me to scary movies and laughs at me. But I mean, it's fun. Then you laugh afterwards, right? So I do think that, sometimes some of that, this is my belief again. I'm not saying that this is like this is it. This is just my theory or my belief. So I'm not trying to offend anybody because, again, I'm open to discovering more, and I'm always learning, and I have changed my views a little bit. But, I think that, it sells.
It does sell. It has a shock value to it. It gets your attention. It's a conversation. And right, Kelly and I are here to share with you our opinions or our beliefs, but we're certainly open as students to learn from you or to learn about your stories and your beliefs and what you've experienced. So it's a lovely time of year. We love Halloween. It's just a great topic to talk about, why we even celebrate it. And, why do we go through all of the makeup and the costumes and the candy? I mean, how did we get here, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Another good question from Anna again. I love you, Anna. You just got full of questions. Big question, because you're mediums, are you less scared to pass away? That's a good question. I think about that all the time. I'm not afraid to pass away, but I definitely don't want to die. I do look forward to that when it is my time, when I'm like in my 90s. I think I'll be ready in my 90s because I get to see my son again. And I look forward to that and I'm excited. I definitely want to have an easy passing. I don't want to suffer. So, I mean, there's a lot of fears on that, not of dying. It's more of just like, I don't want to be in pain, those types of things. But I'm not afraid of dying. If it happens now, I'm ready. I'm not ready. I am ready. I don't want to leave my family.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun here for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Cheryl?
Yeah, I definitely am more comfortable being a medium now. Now that I'm a medium, I'm less scared, I guess, to pass away. It does get me at times though, but I do believe sometimes it's more about I love being here so much that you just hate to go. But
Right.
I'll be back. So, but it's
Well,
definitely enjoying life.
I can remember my first 7 years of life, I kept trying to go back to the spirit world because I didn't want to be here.
Oh.
And I was always in and out of the hospital with unexplained high fevers. And I was always just in the spirit world watching my body below. And my angels are like, "When you have to go back, Kelly."
Mm-hmm.
But it was, this world's very hard. But I think I know, it's also quite beautiful. It's painful. Like we lose people we love, and that's very painful. But we have all those wonderful, amazing memories with those people. We have more things to live for in life. So, grief is just human, and it's worth it. Like all of it, it's all worth it. The pain, the good, all of it. It's all part of that human experience that we come here for. That's my opinion.
I'm going to go to the next comment by Barbara. Isn't the veil between us and spirit world thinner? Yes, I do believe it is thinner. And it's talked about all the time about how the veil is getting thinner. And I think one of the reasons it's thinner is to pat yourselves on the back and say, look, our world or our planet, we're becoming more empathetic. We're opening up our spiritual abilities. Our consciousness is opening. We're having so many transformative spiritual awakenings. So the frequency is higher. We're moving at a faster rate, so to speak. We're manifesting quicker, or we're healing quicker. I mean, it's just really quite amazing. So yes, I do believe we're more aware of the spirit world more now than ever.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like more people are opening up and more children are being born super open and remembering and knowing things. And I think that, each generation, it's like our job to really help encourage and teach what we know. But I also feel like the younger generation can teach us so much about the spirit world. My son really opened me up when he was 4, 5, and 6 and taught me things that I didn't even know, and I've had the gift my whole life, but kids just say it like it is. And it's quite amazing. So I think that there is a lot happening in our world right now. And it's interesting because so many amazing people like are passing as well. Amazing mediums, amazing famous people. And just it's, a lot of good people are going. And I have to think they're going because they're going to be our guides. They're going to help us, with this big transition that's happening. That's what I feel. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that was a big one. And also, along with with children being more in the present moment and being born just more highly evolved, but animals are. I mean, did you know that more and more people own animals? I mean, like we own. I mean, every year, just more and more family homes have pets. We're becoming more aware of animal instincts or intuition. We're becoming more aware of us being more mindfulness because of animals, because they're always in the present moment. So they really kind of stop you in your tracks, and they really get your attention and say, "Hey, come back here with me. You know, I'm here in the present moment. Let's go play.
Like, pet me."
Yeah, pet me, right?
Yeah, I have 4 cats and 3 dogs. I know.
But animals of all different, and also plants and trees, and people are opening up their abilities to actually hear their garden. You're right. They go out into the garden, they can hear.
And that's scientific proof that plants talk. They have it on recording.
Oh my.
There's certain sounds that they will emit.
Because I know, yeah.
I saw it on the Science Channel. I can't exactly tell you everything because I'm not that nerd. That's my son. But I can tell you I did watch this on the Science Channel, and they actually do talk and respond to us talking to them.
I know they were, yeah.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. And, you know, because we do give off that CO2 when we're talking, so that's helpful for them, but also it's that vibration. And it is that they love the music. That's when they say play music with your plants, or, you know, around them, and that, you know, they would do the before and after about how they grow and they flourish. So
well, I think on the science thing that I saw, they showed it was somebody was cutting a plant and it was screaming. When they were cutting off, like, but you know, you have to prune your plant sometimes, right? But I guess they were just talking about like the plant was actually like you could hear it, and it did sound like a scream, but it's like they had to use a special mic to pick it up, right? But it was quite fascinating.
I do ask permission from my plants. I'm like, is it okay to trim you today?
Right.
If I get a good vibe, then I just come back another day. But they prepared. They're more prepared.
My mother always talked to her plants, and I thought, well, my mom was crazy, but I thought she was really crazy when I'd hear her talking to the plants. And then she'd act like they answered her. But her plants were always, she had the best plants, like most beautiful garden always. And she'd leave for a week and she'd give me detailed instructions of how to take care of them. And she'd come back and I'd like killed 3 plants or something. I don't know. I did everything she said except talk to them. So talking does help. That's great.
Well, guys, you're listening to our radio show today. It's Seeing Beyond Living Transformed with myself, Cheryl Murphy, and Kelly Eckhart. We're talking about haunted houses and spooky spirits. So if you'd like to leave a comment and let us know about what your feelings are around ghosts, or if you'd like to share a haunted house story, we'd love to hear it. You can leave a comment in the comment section or send us your email at questions@seeingbeyondradio.com.
I'm just typing that up on the thing too.
Okay, we're going to get that going for you. But really what I do enjoy, yes, hugging a tree is very healing.
It is. I mean, and that's also been proven scientifically, you guys, that, you know, those things they will lower blood pressure, things like that. When people get out in nature and they put their feet in the dirt or they hug a plant, these things actually will calm people instantly, like their blood pressure, their vitals, right? It's good for our health. I always argue with my son over this stuff because he's very scientific, and I have to go prove to him that it is, and I have to like find these articles.
So I just want to share with you, like, I've been to hotel, and you may have been there. Like you on your travels, Kelly. We go into these haunted hotels, for example. I mean, they're in cities. They're in different cities across the country or around the world. Castles, even.
Castles are amazing. The energy is very stale, though.
Okay. I was just going to add to it, like, what is the energy like when you go to a castle? Yeah, very stale. It's very.
Aiden and I didn't like it. I mean, we went to Leeds Castle in the UK, and it was really a beautiful castle, and it was fun. But like, there's so many people that are coming and going, and then there's so much residual energy from that mixed in with the old energy, and it had this, like, nobody could smell it probably but me or him, but it was just like this weird, like, kind of like old smell that it just felt sad. It was like sad energy. So it's not like the Queen Mary is exciting.
Yeah, the Queen Mary does have a lot of residual energy. I guess
It's
we
a lot of fun.
talk about that because we've been there. The Queen Mary
Yeah.
in Long Beach, California. We've been there a few times each on different occasions and then also together. But they do have very active, what is the EVP, the box?
Yeah, the electronic voice phenomenon.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, that stuff's amazing. Yes, I love this. Spirits definitely can move objects in a room. I can tell you stories about that. Yes. And on the Queen Mary. But I actually saw a black kitty. I thought I was a little black cat in my room. And I was rooming with a friend of mine, Patty, and I said, "Oh my gosh, look at that cat." And she said, "Where?" And then it ran through the wall. And I was like, "Oh, that was a spirit cat. Never mind."
Oh.
Yeah, very interesting. But spirits can move objects. My best friend's son passed when he was 10. And, his favorite word was shit. Sorry, I'm going to say it, but that was his favorite word. He was like a little smart ass kid, and he passed from cancer and he was very sick. And he was my son's best friend, RJ. The two of them are together now. They're hanging out, having a good time. But my younger son, when he was little, was very open to spirit. And he started telling me, like, "Mom, there's somebody in the car with us." And he says, he keeps saying this bad word. And I know I'm allowed to say it, but I'm going to tell you anyways. And he started saying it over and over. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then he said, "It's Derek." And he knew the kid's name. And I never talked about him to Aiden because it was before Aiden was born. And then Aiden had these toys that were on his bookshelves. And Derek's mother was staying with us. And we were downstairs. And I hear all the toys get pushed off the bookshelf, but Aiden's with us. And he goes, "Oh, that's Derek. He wants his mom to know that, he's here."
Aww.
And then everything on the piano, was sitting on the piano chair. The airplane got knocked off. There was a big airplane on there, just got knocked off when she was walking by it. Like, it just flew in front of her. And we were like, "That's Derek." So yes, they can, to get our attention. They will do this. Not to be mean.
No, not to be, but to get our attention. I was having lunch with friends of mine, and we were talking about the brother who had passed away from one of these women's. I was with their brother had passed many years ago, but she was talking about him. And then her husband called on the phone and said, "Are you talking about your brother again? Because these books just flew across the room." And he sent us these, photos before and
That's
after.
crazy.
Is that crazy?
Yeah. It's confirmation. It's their only way to communicate with us when we're like not as sensitive, or we're not mediums, right? But in some ways, because movies and things like that, people get scared.
But yes, it wasn't anything mean or evil. It was about her brother just wanting to connect and say hello. "Hey, I'm here. I hear you talking about me." I'm like,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's great. I think it's awesome that they do that, and that we get to see those things, because it's proof. I mean, I've actually heard my son visibly yell at my name after his passing, and it was when I was deep in grief and I was crying, and it was actually on the Queen Mary. And I think that energy base on the Queen Mary is such an amplifier for the energy, that he was able to use that to communicate with me, because I was in the dark room crying because I was having a hard time with my grief. And I hear him yell, "Mom, stop crying." Well, I'm not going to lie. I got freaked out because it's like you're in a dark room. I turned on all the lights and I was like, "Don't do that to me, son." It did kind of scare me.
It's also, you were on the Queen Mary. I'm looking at it like going, yes, there's a boat on an ocean. So it's
right. Water.
Water is a conduit of energy. It's about emotion. I mean, if we interpret it in dreams, but it's definitely water is an amazing helping to amplify it. Really, so amazing, Kelly.
Yeah. So somebody's talking about the Ouija board. Spirit can't enter our bodies. They enter into our energy field, but they can't sit inside of our bodies. So that's a misconception. But they can definitely, if we allow them. But they don't have the energy to stay there and take from us like that. I don't believe that. I played the Ouija board since I was 3 years old. My family, we did that instead of Monopoly. I'm not possessed by anything. I never was. None of my family is. The Ouija board is more of a tool that uses our energy we already have to connect with spirit. It's like a pendulum or tarot cards. It's just a tool. It isn't opening up some scary thing, just so everybody knows. But if you have that fear in your mind, you can definitely, attract energy that isn't necessarily spirit, but negative feelings of energy from other things, is my belief. What about you, Cheryl?
Yeah, I do believe that, really it is about living a balanced lifestyle and having a good outlook on life, most of the time. And, you know, taking care of yourself and your family. I mean, you are already a high vibration just because you have love and compassion in your heart.
Yes.
So no worries there, no worries there. And as Kelly mentioned, the Ouija board, it's a tool. It's a tool, just like card reading or the pendulum or
Or
other
the wire things. What's that called?
dowsing.
Thank you, Douse. They're just tools. They're not, it's really, the Ouija board is more of a game. I mean, it's like for fun. It can be used energetically to connect with spirit, but you don't have to have that Ouija board. You could do that on your own.
Yeah, I mean, you are the facilitator, you're in charge of your own energy. And, it is about you having love and compassion and setting your intention. Is your intention to connect for a healing message with your loved ones? What is that intention behind the work that we do? So keep that in mind.
And well, let me go back to her. She says because she was trying to send it to the light. So they're already in the light. That's my belief. They're never stuck here. I know a lot of people do Reiki, and I know this is a big, two belief systems here. But I mean, I know from my own experience, because I was in the spirit world. I remember dying in my last life, and I remember I was immediately in the light with beautiful people and watching. The first memory I have in the spirit was watching my mom give birth. I mean, I was never stuck. I know that my dad, when he passed, he immediately came to me. My dad wasn't a good person. He drank himself to death, and he had he wasn't a great person, but he was immediately in the light, and he came to me, see me right away. And he actually is my biggest guide and was right away immediately, because my dad was a brilliant person. He just had not a great life, right? So they don't get stuck. They just don't. I mean, I'm not going to argue with anybody. If people want to believe that, that's great. But that's, to me, it's not like, why would you want to believe that your loved ones get stuck? I've connected with spirits the minute they pass. They wouldn't, there's just, I don't know. I think at one point James on Prague wrote a book and he talked about that, but since has changed his belief, because now he'll tell you differently.
Yeah, which he's allowed to, and how
Yeah.
wonderful of that he kept an open mind. And that's
Right.
what I want to remind people who are just tuning in is really these belief systems. These are Kelly and my belief systems. You're open, entitled to your own, and we encourage you to have your own. We want you to question everything, and we want you to do what's right for you and what resonates for you. What we have found is that living a life in love and light and peace and positivity and warmth and compassion and humility has certainly helped us feel that we are comfortable with what we've experienced in this world. You really want to be objective about learning about energy. Sometimes when things scare us, it's a lesson in energy. You're learning about energy. You're learning about what feels good, what doesn't feel good. You're learning about how energy works, right?
And if you think about the energy pyramid too, fear's at the bottom.
Fear's at the bottom.
We want to stay higher, right? I mean, that's just how I like to think about it. I don't like fear unless it's fun. Yeah. What's that saying fear stands for?
Well, lots of things, but false evidence appearing real.
Thank you.
False evidence appearing real.
That's what James on Prague loves to tell people now. And I think it's because of his own experience and connection with spirit and the spirit world teaching him. Right? So
Absolutely.
He's changed his belief. I know there's a lot of TV shows, and I love watching some of them, and some of them I don't, about, hauntings and paranormal activity. There is paranormal activity. It's amazing. I love that. But it doesn't need to be fearful. And a lot goes into those TV shows to get that 1 hour. It could be like weeks. It doesn't just happen in one night, all this activity. I mean, there is some, but it's not like they say in the TV. But, you know, it is fascinating to watch. I've been to those paranormal investigations with AJ on the Queen Mary and some other ones, and they're fascinating. I mean, I have to say, I love it when spirit comes through on the you know, the EVPs and the electronic voice phenomenon stuff. He had this little static thing and we'd hear a voice in it. I mean, it was fascinating because it's stuff that it's saying that nobody would know. We had to research it and it was true. So yes, I mean, those things are amazing. That's paranormal activity that I am fascinated, but it's not a spirit that's stuck.
Good. I'm glad you wrote that down, KB.
Yeah, thank you.
False evidence appearing real.
I like this. Most spirits just want to be heard and remembered. And that's the best thing to do, is to talk about your loved ones. And I love Lisa wrote this, that she knows a medium that made fun of the Ouija boards and had the symbols put on her high heels. I need those high heels. I'll wear them.
That's funny.
There was another thing I saw in here that I wanted to bring up, but it's back up here further. Oh, right here, Lisa again. I think you covered this, but can spirits follow you home? I'd like to visit the Winchester Mystery House, but I'm too scared. LOL. That is so cool. They can move objects. No, they don't follow us home unless they know us, right? You know, but they're not even that. Like, my loved ones like to ride in the car with me, so they're following me around, I guess, but they're always with me, right?
Yeah.
So these people, these spirits there, if you're sensitive, you're definitely going to feel them. But why would they want to come with you? They have their, you know, I think what you're feeling at the Winchester house, because I've been there, the mystery house, actually stayed in the hotel. Or no, that wasn't it. I went to the Madonna one. It's right, same area. That's right. But I think what you feel is the residual energy in the area, in the space, right? And all of the people that have come that were afraid, that came because they wanted to experience something, all of that fear, that excitement, all of that combined with the spirits. And it's an amazing energy if you're open. And sometimes if you're a medium, you know, and you're that's like, to me, a connection. And then you're feeling that spirit's energy, and then spirit wants to come tell you. So they're going to show up and tell you their story, but they're not going to hang out with you and follow you home. I mean, they have better things to do. We're not that like as exciting as the spirit world. They have jobs over there, you know?
I do too. You know, I saw, you know, growing up, and I was 3 years old and I saw spirit in my room, but my experience of the spirit world was a beautiful golden globe, and it was a family of spirits. And I do believe some of them were children, and they were here to help me and ask me if I was okay. And they just came in to check on me, and they did move things in my room. They moved a calendar on the wall, or a pet, a toy across the floor.
Yeah.
And they did this, you know, frequently, but, you know, not for a long time, but as I was growing up. So my relationship with the spirit world has always been one of support and comfort. Okay. So just to know that they really, you know, you, once again, you're in charge of your own faculty, and you want to keep yourself nice and healthy and strong and vibrant. And once again, balanced. How's that? If you have balance and harmony in your life, you know, that's really what you want. You want to emit that into the world.
Yes. Important. We can't go too far into one direction and too far into another direction. Like I said, I don't have even certain things, but that doesn't mean I'm not open to that. But I just feel like I have protected myself, and I'm surrounded by love. I'm surrounded by my angels. I'm surrounded by my loved ones in spirit and my beliefs. And I have my own little protection bubble around me that only the love and the light is going to get through. And that's where I choose to stay. And it has not blocked me from connecting with anybody in spirit.
I do feel my loved ones around too, like Kelly mentioned with her. Like you have your own spirit team. You know, you have your loved ones, your guides, your angels that are there for you, to help you and to support you. And I do feel them around. I love it when we go in the car driving. You know, I talk to them before I do a public demonstration, or before I'm doing, you know, a dem.
Yeah.
So is what it's called. Like, you know, help me, be with me, be there with me. You know. So I know I feel them there, right?
Yeah.
And they want us to ask for help, you know, ask them for help.
Yeah, they do. And, you know, they do listen.
Yeah.
I love to ask for signs. I love to, ask for guidance if I'm feeling stuck. Even though I'm a medium, I get stuck sometimes. I'm an indecisive person because I am a Libra. I have a hard time making a decision. Either I make the decision like that, or I overthink it so badly that I can't stop thinking about it and I can't make a decision. So, I've often will ask spirit, and what they do is they come to me in dreams, or they give me a really vivid sign, like the number 420 from my son. But recently, I had this dream about the pool because we have a pool and he's winterizing it, and I got this cover, and I was talking to my spirit people because I talk to them in my head all the time, saying, I don't think we got the right cover for the pool for winter. I think it's the wrong one. And then I had the dream later, and they came and they're like, yeah, you got the wrong cover. This is the cover you need. And they showed me this cover. And so I told my husband, and so he's looking for the right cover now. I do think that they listen and they come to tell me. Another time, my mother-in-law kept coming to me in a dream, and we live in her house, before, like after she passed, we inherited it and we live in it. And so this is about 2 years after she passed. Every night I'm having this, like for like months, this dream about the house turning into a boathouse, and we're floating away on the river. Mind you, we're about a block from the river. It is right by us, and we're in Sacramento. It is a flood zone. And she's repeatedly coming to me this dream, and she's always in it. And I'm like, why are you bringing me this horrible dream? It's scary. Because it's a really bad storm. Well, there was a bad winter that year. Trees were falling and everything. And I said to my husband, do you guys know if you have homeowners insurance? Because the house was paid off. He's like, my sister's handling that. So he checks in with there's no homeowners insurance. And so they got it, right? But that's what she was trying to tell me.
Right.
They do try to communicate. Mine always try to communicate with me in my dreams because I'm very open, and I typically leave my body and go hang out with them.
They do. Spirit comes to us through signs from spirit world, through dreams is a very popular way they connect with us. So I also wanted to add to what we've been talking about today, and just mention about grounding and how important it is to keep grounded, everyone, because sometimes we get up into the fear and it takes us right out of being connected to Mother Earth, right? When we step into the fear, or we're sometimes a lot in our mental energy body, thinking a lot, our energy can be up here, and we want it balanced, and we want our both feet on the ground, connecting to Mother Earth, right? So it is always healthy, and we should really be practicing being grounded all the time, or every day, or think about it every day. Am I grounded? So sometimes if I step into fear or worry, doubt, I step into, am I grounded? Take a breath, take a glass of water. Have I eaten? Get something to eat to help bring the energy down into the belly area. But, have I connected with Mother Earth today? Chocolate? What am I doing for fun or for sunshine? Am I going out and getting some sun, right? Sun is a great energy that really grounds you, and it cleans your auric field.
Sometimes when I feel anxious or overwhelmed, I will go walk around the block. And the whole time I'll just focus on breathing. And it changes my whole, it just gets me back to here. Because I think sometimes you can get anxiety when we're not grounded. And I didn't know my whole life that I was having panic attacks and anxiety because I was such an empath, and I was picking up the energy from like people around me, and even like on the road, right? Until I became a medium, did I put all that together. And I was also not grounded most of my life. I was up in the clouds. I still like to live there sometimes, but you do have to stay grounded. This is true.
Absolutely. Yes. Anna says she walks in a trail with her camera. That's a great, go hiking, take your camera, connect with nature. Great thing to ground.
Yes.
So we have some other good questions coming in, Kelly.
I know. You pick one.
I'm going to pick one. This is from KB. KB, I don't know what your first name stands for, but maybe you can type it in the comment section.
I think it's right here because she emailed us. It's okay. Kit Bennett.
Oh, Kit. Okay. Hi, Kit.
So where is it?
Her mother-in-law is mentally ill and hates her guts. Is it possible she will haunt her in the afterlife? Her husband is worried about this.
No, she won't.
And then
My mother-in-law hated me too.
yeah.
My ex-mother-in-law. Yeah.
And then, and just to follow the next part of the question was, do I need to be concerned she will not move on into the afterlife, or is this automatic that we all go there?
Is my belief we all go there automatically. And my mother-in-law, my ex-mother-in-law, my ex-husband, his mom, was a bit off, and she did not like me. I was not allowed after the divorce anywhere near the house. She just only the kids could come. She was very mean to me always. But one of the, when she passed, she has immediately came and apologized to me. And she actually shows up all the time in readings when I'm developing and practicing in circles, and always has good things to say to me. So that is a human thing. When she gets over there, it's different. So
yes.
Yeah.
So Kit, when you say she's vindictive and not, this is human. When she steps into spirit, right? When we step into when we connect with the spirit world, and we are now a discarnate being, no longer here in the physical. We do not carry the lower vibrations of, doubt, worry, fear, being vindictive, anger. I do believe we step into more of who we truly are, and we learn from our experiences here on earth. Mm-hmm. So I fully believe, and I feel very comfortable saying that she will not be the same person in the afterlife. Now, if you were to get a reading from a medium might bring through her personality a little bit of how she was when she was here, only to validate, the medium is connecting with your mother-in-law. But also the medium would also say, yes, she has certainly, whatever the message is, like growing or learning or trying or here to apologize or here to tell you, I'm sorry I didn't give you another chance. And so there's always they're not the same. I do believe we go to that higher school of learning.
I love when I get when I'm doing a reading for somebody and their mother-in-law that they never got along with comes through. And because there's a lot of people that don't have good relationships with their mother-in-law. Right. And they're like, I don't want to hear from her. And I'm like, well, I have to give you, like, she's coming through, like, right. But I feel like the first thing she wants to say, she's sorry she was so difficult, and she's sorry she hurt you, and she was wrong, and she's taking responsibility for raising her son the way he was. So, they will like come through and say, I'm really sorry, and tell them they're good moms or they're good this,
Just like if people who have an illness of any type, when we cross over, there is no illness.
Right. That's a human trait. That's how I like to think about it. Yeah. We don't leave here and we're not still like if we were born here and we're autistic, in the spirit world autistic. If we were born here and we had Down syndrome, we're not going to the spirit world with Down syndrome. The soul is separate from the body. Did you freeze, Cheryl?
No, I'm smiling at you.
Oh, you look like you froze. You were so perfect.
So perfect. Sorry, I was just agreeing with you. No, you were good, Kelly. And so I hope that helps you, Kit. I know it's a lot to think about, but
it is.
I don't want to spin it and put a spin on it, but she could be a big teacher for you in some way, right? Some of the people that cause us the most grief, Kelly.
Oh yeah, teach us the best lessons in life.
The lesson that we may not know at the time, but we somehow continue to learn. There's layers upon layers, maybe, of lessons, right? So it's an empowering experience, Kit, from which you are learning.
It's true. And what I learned from my mother-in-law was to stand up for myself and find my voice, because when I first got married, I was very timid and I never spoke up, and I just took the abuse from her. Yeah. And I think the first time I spoke up for her was a shock. Yeah. She was not happy. And it was towards the end of my marriage. It's the first time I spoke up to everybody, right? But I had to find my voice, and it helped me find my voice. So sometimes those lessons are needed in life. And I always feel like spirit, pushed me to learn these things.
Sometimes people that ruffle our feathers, are there to teach us, whether it's a little bit or a lot, or and they come in all different shapes and sizes and situations. And maybe you could just ask yourself, what is my lesson? What am I to learn from this? And the answers may not be there today, but maybe they will be there sometime in the future for you. And it's usually not just one lesson. I mean, usually even experiences I look back on, sometimes I'm still learning, or I'm looking at it from a different perspective, so to speak.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I think sometimes we're so hard on ourselves too. And when somebody doesn't treat us right, sometimes we start to think like maybe we did something wrong, or maybe it's something we did. But it's okay to sometimes just know like that person's just not happy. And you're just, so like we don't have to, we can have boundaries with them. That was another thing I had to learn, was boundaries, setting boundaries with people who are abusive. It's great. It changes the whole picture for you. Learning to say no, or just learning to walk away and not engage, treating them like a toddler and redirecting the conversations. Lots of things I learned from all the messed up people in my life. I thank them for it. Yeah. But go ahead.
I was going to say, it's been a nice afternoon of conversations. I did want to include something before we go.
Yeah.
Because this came to me, is we haven't talked about cemeteries yet.
I love going to the cemetery.
And you know how people, they make them scary, and of course they can be scary, I guess, right? I mean, but tell us about how you love going to cemeteries.
Because I hear spirits, and I walk around and I like to read the tombstones, especially the old ones, the really old ones. And I like to just sort of sit near them and just feel the energy and feel their stories, because it's like almost like reading a history book when they're like 100-year-old graves, and just feeling it and seeing the images, and just, I don't know, it's fascinating to me. And I find them beautiful, the old ones, even the new ones, but I really love old cemeteries like in the mountains.
It's very much kind of a ritual or a reverence you have, when you approach, connecting with those energies of a cemetery, or experiencing them and different ones. As you said, it can be very, very for some people it's scary, but I do think it's kind of like, it also can be very beautiful and healing, and it can be very much about connecting, as you mentioned, Kelly, with your own intuitive senses, right?
Yeah. And well, I mean, I guess I've always been fond of them since I was little. So I think that's it. I mean, where everybody else was afraid, I always wanted to go in and explore and read the tombstones and, wander around. And the trees always feel like they have so much life in them, like they're alive and talking to us. And
Right.
I love it. We have an old cemetery here. I don't know how old it is, but in Sacramento, where my daughter's going to have her father's ashes put there, but his parents are there, my ex-mother-in-law and her husband. And it's great energy. I mean, it just feels like it's, and they have a playground right next to it.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. And I think that's great.
Yeah, I mean, some cemeteries can be the most peaceful, healing, and it is about taking that. It's all of a sudden that brings you into the present moment, I think, too. It does. You're connecting with the energy of the love that these people had, the families they had, or they still have. But it is about kind of a community of healing energy. So I would just say, look, next time you see a cemetery, once again, learning about different cultures and how different cultures use cemeteries, or even if they have a cemetery, or how they deal with their departed loved ones. It's very, very interesting, and it's extremely informative. And I do believe when you step into that energy of a loved one, it's always about showing compassion and gratitude. I just want to say, you want to step into it with a really reverence, once again, holding that respect for them.
When I was in Maui, we went to a couple beaches where there was a cemetery right on the beach. That's where I'd want to be buried. But I want to be. I have my ashes spread though. Yeah. I don't want to be buried. But yeah, if I was going to be buried, that would be at the beach.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, I know we're part of. It's been a great program today. I don't know, Kelly, if you feel. I just feel like our program's come to an end.
Me too. I'm ready to sign off and thank everybody. And next week we'll be back. But you won't be here next week. Is that right?
No, I won't be here next week.
So I might be here with a co-host.
Yes.
Named oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Help me out here. What's her name? Albert. Thank you, Lori. I know her name, but it's like I'm on the spot. Lori Albert is going to be my co-host next week. I'm so excited because she is amazing, and she's written this amazing book about manifesting, or it's a journal, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's a journal.
Yeah. And she does beautiful meditations, and I just love her energy. I really resonate with her, and I think you guys will too. We have a lot of fun, and we're going to have a blast. And I think we might do a couple readings next week. Her and I will see how she feels. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey everyone. Well, thanks for joining us this afternoon. You're listening to Seeing Beyond Living Transformed. We always thank you for being with us. You have a wonderful holiday. Happy Halloween, everyone. We hope you are able to share your heart and your compassion with others today. So once again, lots of love. We'll see you next week.
And have fun on Halloween. Happy Halloween, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTKDB.com.